everyone, this is Mario again, coming at you with another movie review. Today I am reviewing a made-for-television horror film, which I guess you guys are probably thinking, hey, that's unusual, I never reviewed them before, but this is one that I heard about a while ago when my buddy Mike, OCP Communication, reviewed it on his channel. And that, of course, is Dark Night of the Scarecrow. If I remember correctly, he liked it, but I don't remember the rating he gave it. I remember most of the review was positive because it wasn't ranting. He wasn't like, this movie is fucking horrible. But if I remember, I think he had problems with the movie, but I don't remember right. Thank you for watching this. Refresh my memory in the comment section. But when I heard it, I'm like, sounds like interesting. It's a made-for-television movie. I might give it a watch. It's made in '81, so when my brother Joseph was an infant. But it's directed by Frank De Felitta, which I've never heard of that guy. And the only actor in the movie I recognize is Charles Durning, who I just remember from the show Everybody Loves Raymond, where he played Father Hubley in a very good role. Then he was also in that one TV show that aired in the 2000s. I think it was like First Monday. I'm checking to see if that's what it was. I think it was in the 2000s. First Sunday. I'm checking his filmography right now to see if because I want to get the name of that series right. Let's see, Mr. Saint Nick, A Boyfriend for Christmas. I remember watching that movie. That was a pretty interesting movie. The last. It's not in his filmography, damn it. Oh yeah, it was First Monday, yeah. When was it? Oh, 2002. Yeah, it was sad that show was short-lived, because it was an interesting show, but yeah, it was 2002. He played a judge in that show, which was good in that show. And all the other actors, I don't really recognize them, but they did pretty good jobs. Now, the plot is that our main character is a mentally challenged adult named Bubba Ritter, played by Larry Drake. He's basically like I said, he's mentally retarded technically, and he's basically a child in a man's body. And because of that, you know, he's friends with a lot of the kids, especially one named Mary Lee. Now, this kind of unsettles the townspeople. Some of them are like, it's a little strange, or they don't care. But it's a couple people in particular, one of them being Charles Durning and his friends, who hate it, and they know something's bound to happen. Well, one day when Mary Lee is almost killed by a vicious dog and Bubba saves her life, Charles's character named Otis fears that Bubba might have raped and killed her. So him and his buddies form a lynch mob and they go after him. They find him dressed as a scarecrow in this one field attempting to hide, and they kill him with bullets. But then after that, it's just right after that they find out the truth. So since they had formed a mob illegally, without the sheriff's authority, and gone after Bubba and killed him, technically now they're guilty of murder. So they frame Bubba by putting a pitchfork in his hand, and they get off scot-free because the district attorney cannot prove a case, which I call BS on this a little bit. I mean, I saw Otis holding it with the pitchfork with his bare hands. I think they would find fingerprints on that shows how the fingerprints were. I think they'd be able to show that Otis put it there, and also that Bubba wasn't brandishing it. But I guess they didn't have the technology in the early '80s to figure stuff out like that. But I also buy the district attorney's argument about them saying it was self-defense. 4 men with guns against one guy with a pitchfork. Unless that guy's Jason Voorhees, I think the odds go to the guys with the guns. I think even like a retarded person would drop the pitchfork and surrender. Well, unless of course he fears he's going to be killed, but in that case the other way he's going to get shot. It's just giving him a reason to get shot, but he's mentally challenged, so if he had even been in that situation, he probably would have thought of it. Well, as you can guess, Bubba's mother is upset at this, and she really yells afterwards, "They killed my boy, those bastards!" Well, she doesn't say that in TV movie. "They killed my boy!" And then, of course, she says probably one of the best lines in the movie. "You may think that you're getting off free, but there's other justice in this world besides the law." And, of course, that rings true because one by one they are killed by a scarecrow, which we find out at the end. Well, we find out before the end, actually, that it's Bubba. Which you could already guess that already, because it's the same scarecrow that Bubba was dressed up in, only it's actually a scarecrow this time. Now, as they go off, as each person is killed, I guess you see that the other ones get nervous, and when it's just down to 2, the other one besides Otis actually wants to turn himself in. Before that, they all are really getting nervous, and Otis is the worst of them. He's the last one taken. That's a minor spoiler. And the thing that really just shows how much of an ass his character is that we actually find out, it's kind of insinuated a little bit earlier, and it's kind of maybe hinted, but it's not really known until Otis talks with Bubba's mother, that Otis is a pedophile. So I guess you could say him hunting Bubba is basically him being a self-loather. And the way you could tell before it's even mentioned, well, obviously they don't say a pedophile, but it's just hinted enough for you to get the point. I guess you could say kind of like in the Nightmare on Elm Street films, how they hint enough, you know, filthy child murderer, the filthy is supposed to be the hint. And then of course other soft hints, it's hinted. It's probably something that it's better left unsaid but hinted, and it works just as good. And also don't forget the looks, like the looks he gives Mary Lee when he sees her throughout the movie. That you're like, that's a little weird, isn't it? Even if she's the one that got hurt and he killed Bubba for that, that's not the type of look you would give a girl like that. But and then also the thing he says to her, "I'm a mailman. No one's afraid of the mailman." Is this supposed to be your cover, Otis? No one's afraid of the mailman? I guess that's true, except of course when you go into the post office and one has a gun, then you'd be afraid of the mailman. Go and post him. Now, what will I say about this movie? What else can I say? The sets and stuff, they're done very decent, and I want to see if I can see what this. Oh, it doesn't say what the budget is. TV movie, so it's probably only at most like a couple, like 1 million or 2 million. Most likely 1 for the time, if that. So, with that, they actually make good use of the sets and stuff they have. It's mostly looks like outdoor stuff, but it's kind of hard to tell. The actors do a good job, especially Charles Durning as the lead asshole, I guess you could put him. The guy who plays Bubba does a pretty good job, and I would actually believe he's mentally handicapped. If I were going to compare him to another character with how he acts and his vocal mannerisms, kind of reminds me of Tom Cullen from the Stand miniseries. You remember him? M-O-O-N? That's spelled moon. Like that guy. Kind of reminds me of that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same actor, but I'm going to check see if it's the same actor real quick. Because they're speaking similarly, so I wouldn't put past it if it's the same actor. No. Oh, wait a minute. It's the guy who plays Durant in Darkman. I thought he looked familiar. Let's see, Darkman. Nope, it's not him, but they speak in a similar way. Maybe the guy who played Tom Cullen based his performance a little bit off of this. Maybe he's a fan of it. I don't know. But like I said, I can buy he's like that, just like I can buy that Otis is a child molester. Now, what else? Obviously, since the TV movie is not much gore. I mean, there's some blood, and it's made useful, like when stuff goes into people, like bullets or blades. You don't really see it puncturing, but it's effective enough. Like when they are basically shooting Bubba, that you don't actually see the bullets go into him, but you see them firing, and then you see the aftermath. So it's just as effective. I guess you could say it works kind of like how Halloween does, where it's done through suspense and not actually outright showing it, which works, especially for a TV movie. It works very well. And this is probably one of the more graphic TV movies I've seen in regards to that. I mean, granted, I don't know if back in the 80s you get away with it a little bit more, but if we saw more TV horror movies like this, or PG-13 horror movies like this in general, I think that the genre would be a little bit more better off. Now, my final rating for Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, I can't really think of anything wrong with it. Maybe, like, there's a couple parts that might be a little slow. Not really that slow. Some of the minor character acting is okay, not really good. It's mostly the principal characters that do good jobs. Some of the legal stuff, like, how could you think that? What the? That kind of annoyed me. But overall, can't really hold it against the movie because I enjoyed the movie. And I recommend it. I saw it through Netflix, so if you have Netflix, feel free to give it a watch.